Hello, my name is Charles Ardinger, and I'll be working with you in your English 100 class this semester as your instructor. I'm looking forward to learning more about you as we go through the class. Since I'll be reading your work, I'll be able to find out how you think and feel about particular subjects. And so I think it's only fair that I send you this video to introduce myself, to help you learn more about me, and to encourage that two-way communication that I think really helps a class work well. So I'm going to introduce myself a little bit, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about how the class works, how I've designed it. So to begin with, my name is Charles Ardinger. Hello. I've been working here at Coastline Community College since 2013, teaching classes pretty much like this one. And before that, I got my master's degree from Cal State Fullerton. Go Titans. I have a few specialties here in the English department, but my major interest is in English grammar. I love English grammar. I love to talk about English grammar. I love to think about English grammar. And I like to answer questions about English grammar, or really about anything. So if you have a question about English grammar, or really about anything, please don't hesitate to send me an email. I know that you have my email address because you're looking at this video right now. That is pretty much what I wanted to say about myself. Now I'd like to talk a little bit about how I've designed the class and how it should work, so that you should have an easier time getting through the class and can concentrate on the material rather than how to get at the material. So to do that, let's take a look at the class's home page. As you can see, this home page has a lot going on. There are many elements to this page, and I'd like to point some of them out to you so that you can use the class more easily. My ego wants me to point out to you this logo that I made myself and am very proud of. But the first thing I really want to point out to you is the announcements. Notice that the top of the page carries recent announcements. I will be posting an announcement at least once a week in this class to discuss issues of grammar or other issues I see in the class that I think are interesting or important. And it can be in your best interest to read these announcements regularly. So to do that, you can simply put your cursor over the title of the announcement, and in my class they're always in this form, a date and some kind of explanation of what the announcement's going to be about, and then you can click on that title, and then you will see a page that carries the announcement. Again, I think that it will be in your best interest to look at these announcements as regularly as you can and pay attention to what's in them. You might find it interesting, and I certainly hope you'll find it educational. Now, the next thing I want to point out is this link over here on the left that says Grades. This is where you'll be getting feedback from me on your assignments, and this is pretty important because this is largely how we'll communicate. You'll put in an assignment, I will tell you what I think about the assignment, and you can use my advice on the next assignment and as you continue educationally. So notice this number 1 next to grades. That means that the fake student that I get to pretend to be sometimes to do demonstrations like this has actually turned in an assignment. So let's take a look at the feedback for that assignment. So you would click Grades, and when you do that, you get a list of the assignments in this class. Now, many of these assignments don't count. They are simply artifacts of a previous version of this class. But you'll notice that Test Student, that's my fake student, has turned in the Module 1 assignment. Now, he got a 40% on it, so it's not that good, and he may be concerned to see what's going on. So, let's take a more detailed look by clicking on the title of the assignment. So now you see that you have a page called Submission Details, in which you can see a comment left by the professor. I will be making comments like this on all your assignments, so that's one place to look to get some advice on how you did or what you could do better. Also, I will be using a rubric to grade all the assignments. And to see that rubric, you can click on this link that says Show Rubric. And you'll see that the paragraph leaves out some elements of the text pattern, so that could be improved. There doesn't seem to be an outline at all in the submission, so that's obviously a problem. And that is how this student got 8 out of 40 points. But there is a way to look at the assignment in even greater detail by clicking on this link that says View Feedback. When you do that, you'll get a small copy of what you wrote. Now, the camera I'm using to make this presentation has a fairly small window, so it's quite probable that your screen will be larger and that you'll have a much easier reading experience. I can see that this is really tiny type. But what I want you to notice is that within this really tiny type, I have made an annotation. What that means is that in a virtual way, I have written on your paper in just the same way that I would write on your paper with a pen if you gave it to me in a face-to-face class. Also, I have made a highlight, and that highlight leads to this text box, which again you'll be able to see more of, more than likely, when you're having this experience for real. So these are two ways in which I can comment on your paper itself in detail, in addition to making a comment at the end of it and filling in a rubric that will show you how I graded your paper. The next thing I want to show you is a feature that should make it a little bit easier for you to work in this class. Notice that on the home page there is a to-do list. That's a list of the assignments and the announcements that you'll have an opportunity to read and write as we keep going. Notice, for instance, that there's been an announcement on 22 August. You just looked at that. There is a quiz on August 28th, and there's also that assignment that is due August 28th that doesn't appear on the to-do list because this student already did it. I'm also asking you to engage in a student introduction discussion. That will be due on August 29th. Also, if you're more visually oriented, well, ordinarily there's a calendar here, but it's not here yet. So look for that as we keep going. Finally, I want to point out that this class has office hours, so that you can visit me in what you might think of as my office. These office hours are from 1830 to 2000, or 6:30 to 8 o'clock p.m. Pacific time, and you'll notice that they are via Zoom. That's because there is no way you can actually visit my actual office. First, I don't have one, and B, you're probably very far away. So let's take a look at how you can actually get to my office hours. And the first step in that is to click this link that says Confer Zoom. When you click Confer Zoom, you'll see a calendar that looks a little bit like this one. This is not exactly what your calendar will look like because as an instructor, I don't really have access to that page, but this is what my calendar looks like. And so, to get to my office hours, you'll find the date that you want. My first office hours, you'll notice, are on Tuesday, August 25th, and you'll see that there is a link on that date. Clicking that link will take you to a Zoom meeting hosted by me that will include you and any of your other classmates that want to join. And when you do that, we can talk about what's going on in the class, or what's going on in your life, if you like. We can have a conversation, which again I think makes a class experience much, much more pleasant and indeed educational. And so that is an introduction to myself and to this English 100 class. I hope you found it useful. And again, if you have any questions, I want to encourage you to ask me as soon as you can so that nothing remains unclear. I'd also like to thank you for enrolling in the class. As a student, you are one of the most important parts of the class. In fact, without students, there would be no reason for a class at all, so you might be the most important part of the class. I look forward to working with you over the next 16 weeks and learning more about you. And as always, thank you for your time and attention.